Welcome back to Word Blindness, Dyslexia Exposed. This is Juliette Hahn here with my co-host Brent Sopel. How are you doing?
It's Monday. It's supposed to be 80 degrees. So yes, I'm not happy.
Yeah, because your allergies.
Spring and summer. I don't want to go outside. I want to stay in cold, no windows, no air, nothing.
God, I can't believe though it's the 80. It's like freezing here. It's freezing. Okay, I know who I'm talking to. Freezing meaning it's spring and there's still like a crisp nip in the air. I just sounded like I was 80. But
if it would be, 30 to 40 every day, perfect.
You'd be happy.
I'd be happy. Like I was on the ice yesterday. My allergies are perfect. Great. Awesome. And I come outside and everybody's like, I love spring. I love summer. I'm like, I hate it. Oh, it's not sandwich.
And what I think is really funny is I just said I sounded 80 and we are opening this talking about the weather.
I'm a farm boy. I'm a farmer. That's all we talk about, the weather. First thing we dig up, when we bring up the weather app, what do we got today? It's supposed to be 81, like
that's
60,
crazy.
70, 75. Like, definitely hate this time, my most miserable time. I dislike summer.
No, and this is why this is a great kind of segue into this episode, because when we first started recording, I think we had recorded before we put it out, and this is exactly the time that your allergies were really, really bothering you. However, and we'll see in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping it doesn't happen to you, but you get really, really congested.
Yeah.
And so right now I feel like you're not as congested. You're maybe a little snarfy, but not as congested.
Hang on. Snarfy? Please do describe snarfy. You've never
heard of snarfy?
I've never heard of snarfy. Oh yeah, that's.
But you're like,
Paul's like, you sneeze like Shrek. I can hear you coming from miles.
Oh, you know what? That's actually very funny. You said I have a very robust, loud sneeze, and I startle people, and people are like, how did that come out of you? I have the loudest sneeze, and it is actually hilarious. My dad, the same one, but my family sometimes will get very irritated because it's like there's no buildup. It's just a
Mine are sometimes so hard my arms hurt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I get it.
Allergy season. I never had allergies till I moved to Chicago. Ever.
You said that.
So
and when
30, something like that. So
but what did Naomi said? It's like different cycles of Naomi, the homeopath, the practitioner. Or educator, she was talking about that certain times, because when I first moved out to Long Island, I started, but then I don't. And I feel bad for people that do have allergies. I get like I don't even think a touch, so I'm not going to even try to sympathize with it.
I didn't know. I guess supposedly this area is one of the worst, and I didn't know that. Someone told me just recently, Austin, Texas, is bad.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know what it is, or again, I'm growing up on a farm, dust and mold, and that's all I was. No running water, so that's what lived on us. Nothing. So I get here, just I want to take 2 forks and stab in my eye, and
welcome to America. Yeah. So I hear you, but that we did not start recording today to talk about allergies and the weather.
First off, well, God, did you have a good Mother's Day?
I did. Oh my gosh, we had. So this is going to obviously go out after Mother's Day. Mother's Day was yesterday. It was so good. It was literally. Good. And I don't like the word perfect. Thank you for asking, by the way, but it was so good. And it was just great. The kids are all just in really good spaces. And Dan and I, like, everything is just a good time. They made me cry with their presents. I actually did an Instagram story today about it, because people don't talk about it enough, about kids going off to the next stage of their life, whether it's college or whatever, but graduating high school. I am pretty much a mess a lot. And I don't enjoy that at all.
It's not easy, First off, I have mothers to all the mothers, and I hope they all had a great day. Your job's not easy. The what if games you guys play in your head don't make it easy. So,
yeah, it's
life is as you just touched upon, Montgomery's getting ready to, lead into that next step. You're crying all the time, but I hope it's happy tears because, it hasn't been easy to get here. So you should be doing at least a little bit of a pat on the back. And
so he made me this video, and it is basically just our relationship. He was crying, and he would actually probably like die that I'm saying this, but he was crying. He was ready for, he's like, everyone was watching me, and then everyone got like misty. And then he was like, oh, okay, that really hit me. I was actually just talking about this today, and excuse my language, but it's a mind fuckery, because it is happy because you've created these humans that you're proud of, that they're going to survive because they're real. But then it's like this, like, I love him so much and care about him so much. The fact that I'm not going to be able to see him every day literally hurts so bad.
That leads into a little question. We talk about, he's exactly you, right? We've had this conversation. It's your mini me, right? As I think you said Truman's, Dan, and you got Penelope's got, you got the mixture. But that's, as we talk about this, the understanding, right? You understand, right? You understand each other, in a different, a different way.
Mm-hmm.
That's as Lila's my mini me, and she gets mad. I gave her these nice little gifts. But that's the importance of having somebody understand you that has it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as we've touched upon this probably every day is, Dan loves him, but Dan doesn't fully understand him because he doesn't have it, and you can't.
Mm-hmm.
So you're obviously, that bond there is, that understanding is deeper. It's not, the love isn't deeper. You love your kid the same. I think it's is the understanding.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite kid? Everybody has fun with it, jokes around. You love your kids all the same, but it's in different ways. And I think the understanding of that love is the way it differs. Especially for us who do have dyslexia or dysgraphia or calcula or ADHD, that understanding makes that bond special.
Yeah. I mean, what you said, we do. It is funny because the kids are always like, who do you love the best? And it's a different love. It's a different, strong love, but like, it's a love that again, it's a mind fuckery because you're so excited, but then it's also like, what, when you went to college and the life that you learned. I mean, I was actually talking to my girlfriend today, and I said to her, her second's good friends with Montgomery. And I said, I'm sorry I wasn't there when you're first, like that I didn't stop and say, how are you doing? Because it is this weird emotional, oh my gosh, like you're proud and excited, but then and it's not scared, because I'm not scared. I'm not worried about him at all, but it's just the fact that like they're out there and they're not, I mean, I don't think it's a control. I don't, there's just a lot of feelings. I don't know what it is.
Well, this is different. This is the mother hen. For myself, I've traveled my whole life, right? I was always away from the kids, right? That's, who's their rock? One mean, home all the time. It's mom, right? And now, that's not always there. There's sometimes there's dads that stay home, but, for the most part, it's moms, right? So usually dads don't get too emotionally into this. I mean, emotional because we're used to that separation. We're used to being gone, but you're used to still having that umbilical cord attached. And, I mean that, that's, you were always there. You were there personally, even if they're piss you off or they're annoying, but you're always there. That was a constant for usually 18 years.
Yeah.
So you take that constant away for 18 years, and I think you touched on something important that we've talked about. I think when you're with your hormones and stuff, women don't talk about it enough. Aren't there to support each other enough? Because you said, I'm sorry, I wasn't there for you. There's not enough of these conversations, even this little piece right here. You didn't know what it was going to be till you got it. So, at least you said, I'm sorry, it wasn't there for you. Didn't know that. But if this conversation, these little conversations happen more, we touched upon obviously your hormones and stuff like that. The more understanding, I think that that's the word of the day is, more understanding, no matter what that is, no matter whatever stage your marriage, your kids going off to college, your kids getting married, struggling with learning disorder, like mental health, whatever it is, it's the more conversations we have, whatever that is. Because I promise you're not the only one in the world.
Totally. No. And it's funny because I just did the IG story on it. And I just said, if you guys are out there and you have friends going through this, because I said, I'm actually shocked that I'm not hysterical crying now, but I literally cried my entire dog walk. I canceled yoga today. Like I canceled yoga.
What?
Yeah. I didn't go to yoga today because I was like,
you're a booger savage too over here. I'm over here for different reasons.
Yeah. Totally crying all morning. And so I think I got it out. I was like, okay, I'm going to switch this but 100%. And I said on my story, there's the people that don't want to talk about it because they get too emotional. However, just checking in and saying, hey, I know this is a hard time. I'm thinking of you. Because if the person does want to talk about it because they're in the headspace too, that's great. I actually had someone reach out to me from Connecticut that our kids, and I haven't talked to in forever, but our second, like there was a picture that popped up in her memories. And she said, can you believe we're here? And we literally texted for probably 25 minutes, just back and forth what the kids were doing and talking about this. And she literally said, I mean, I don't, when we all plan to have kids, one of the things I'm going to tell younger people is try not to have your kids go off to college right when you're smack in the middle of menopause, because it fucking sucks because the emotions that you're having, it's like, and it kind of is true. Now, okay, if someone's younger and they're not going through that, they're going to go through it older when their kids are in different stages. But it is kind of a funny thought. And I did think that. I was like, oh, I thought I was, when we were having them, I'm like, oh, this is so nice of thinking of future. And I'm not one that really thinks ahead, but I did not think about like, okay, all my kids are going to be going and leaving me, and literally as my period's leaving me and I'm going into that next stage. Holy fuck. Not a good thing.
Again, can't time everything properly, but it's, you said you had kids. Nobody had, thinks for what that will be. And we can think, I think it's going to be this, or I think it's going to be this, or I think, no, you're never going to know. It's never going to be what you think, So it's these more of these conversations, as the kids move to college, husband's got the tape measure out, and all right, we can put a hot tub here. We can move this kid's bed out of here. It's different. It's that understanding again, understanding that you're all going to have the same emotion because you're used to being the rock for 18 years. Good rock, bad rock, bad person, bad cop, good cop. You were the rock.
All of the above. Right. Yeah.
And you're the one, the kid's not feeling this. The kid's like, yeah, thank God, get me out of the house, right? I'm 18, I'm growing up. But I'll ask you this. Do you feel, I don't lessen then isn't the right word. Do you feel like your job is over? Or what is that emotion?
I don't know. It's a weird, I think there's a part. So, because it's funny, because people will say like, oh, I know that, like talking to people that have their, you never hear from them again. Like some kids are like, Montgomery is not that way.
My kids, again, my kids are, my youngest is 20, right? So it's with the grandkids, it's a different stage, as I've had to, accept, going over their house and Julie's birthday this weekend, it's their kids. Right. You get to be there back to love and support and be there to back them. You're not there to discipline. You're not there to tell them what to do.
Right. Who thought you would have been a grandfather at this age, right? You didn't, it's not like you were like, oh, I'm going to have kids so then I can be a grandfather, in the late 40s.
the other side of in-laws, want to come over and tell them it's not our job. We did our job. Now our job's to, love them and support them. Now, how they raise their kids and what they do, it's not for us to, if they come and ask, you can say something, right?
Yeah.
If you see something, but you can't there. So it's on that side of it's just sit back and, watch. And would you be doing things different? Absolutely. Because you are different.
Yeah.
But, so it's,
it's
life's
hard.
Interesting. Life changes. If it doesn't change, you're not doing something right.
Yeah, exactly.
Growing and adjusting, and the world's a crazy place right now. So if you're not kind of all over the map, you're not growing as as an individual and reflecting to be a better person.
Yeah. And it's funny because I'm not a helicopter mom by any means. Like I've let my kids, I do not do that at all. And so when I say control, I think it's just more of having their presence, because I really do like. Yeah. I really do. I mean, I really like them. Like I do.
Where's lunch? I'm hungry, Mom. You're going to miss that, right?
I'm going to miss all of it.
Oh my God. But
yeah. I'm going to miss all of that. And Montgomery is also he's a big presence. He's a big, whatever emotion he has, it is felt like far and wide. And so we also know, like, I think then I go through, I'm like, I know Truman's because they're like literally best friends. They are so close. It's going to be hard on him. That's going to be sad. So there's I think it's the Dan and him, like sit and talk. Sometimes I come down and I'm like, can I just talk for 1 second? I just have one question. They're like talking sports, and the three of them. And so I think it's the whole dynamic of the change what is tweaking me the most. It's that is never going to be again. Like that's never going to be again. Even if he decides to come home after school, and I don't think he will, but like, even if there's a time where he lives, because my friend Christina literally said, she's like, I actually see Lily more. She's like, that's why. Because I said, is it easier the second time? And she said, it's not easier. It's just different because they are home way more than you realize. And it's like, okay, you think all of a sudden you're never going to see them again. And it's like, no, they're still there.
I think that you said something, it's never going to happen again, or you're never going to see them again. I think those are wrong words.
Yeah.
I had, kids are every stage is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a different hard. Like the baby's exhaustion hard, right? Then they get teenagers and driving and drinking and drugs, sex, drugs. And, it's a different, it's a different hard. So I wouldn't say it's never going to happen again. There's going to be, you left the baby stage, diapers, to the next, and it grows. And it's not like they're gone forever.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I grew out, I moved, left at 16, right? Playing junior hockey. So try doing that a couple years ago.
No.
Right?
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Come back, for the summer, gone again. Right. So I've been doing this since I was 16, and I've literally been gone. I've been gone since I was 20 and never been back. So I'm the one that's never been back.
Yeah, and so it's interesting because I like change. It's funny because and that's where it's also kind of interesting. I actually like change. I thrive in change. Mm-hmm. I look forward to change. I don't like to be stagnant and doing the same thing and all that. I think it's like Truman got his license today. He's going to be driving by himself. Like there's just all of these new things. And again, I don't want to say it's a control thing because I'm not controlling, but I think there's a part of it that is like, it's not that I'm not needed, because it's not that at all. It's just that like knowing that they're safe when they're with you. I think it's some of that. It's just all of these weird things. But the thing that I love this kind of segue, because let's talk a little bit about the change of the foundation and the call that you got this weekend and kind of what is happening in our world that we can talk about. Because as we've talked about, there's a lot of stuff that we cannot talk about. But like change is good and you have to embrace it. But that's the also being okay with who you are and being, okay, I know this, and I'm okay that I'm sitting there crying, walking the dogs. I literally when I did my story today, I laughed because I was like, there's so many people that drove by, and they were like, oh, I hope she's okay. She's really sobbing. I mean, I was sobbing as I was walking. And so it's okay. Like, I'm okay doing that. Like, I don't care. Well, I needed to get it out.
That's good. To touch upon that, it's great too. You have to get it out.
Yeah, you can't stop.
You keep it in. It's I describe it as a kettle at some point in time, right? So never be shy of those tears, wherever you are, because if you can get them out, you get them out.
Yeah, you feel better.
That's very, that is very, very important to get them out. And not hanging on to them until that kettle blows. And we all know whenever that kettle blows into whoever it is, it's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no. So that is one of the things, but it again, just the message is like, check on, like, if we're all crazy, end of school's all crazy, but if you have that friend that knows there's a kid graduating, just check in, just say, hey, I'm thinking of you. I know this must be a hard time.
It's, life's interesting. And if you don't grow with it, what do you got?
Exactly. So talk about the message that you received this weekend, and then kind of, I learned a couple things about the foundation that happened back in 2020, and I think it's really exciting and should be shared.
I think it was, right before COVID, we got 6 or 7 teachers, certified already in Gillingham, in Rhode Island. Obviously COVID hit, but I got a message late Friday from a lady in the Federation of Women's Club. Again, have I ever heard of it? No. I guess 80,000 members. But she said somebody wrote an essay about the foundation and won. They have essay contests. So I was surprised because it's an essay. But it's, the group is out of Rhode Island, so I don't know if the correlation is from one of those individuals that were taught by one of these teachers, or what it was. They won the essay contest, 6th grader. So they're going to donate to the foundation. It was an interesting call at 5:30 on a Friday, on a Friday evening. So, but again, things are, the message is getting out there. I don't know the correlation with, I
think you'll find all that out,
teachers,
right? Yeah.
If it's one of the students, one of the siblings of the kids of the teachers, not sure what that correlation is. Maybe it's none of the above. We don't know. But, the foundation obviously can't get to 2 till you get to 1. It's been a slow process, it's to grow it. I've done it slowly because I've had to grow myself, slowly, and understand who I am, and be able to see where the foundation can fill needs and be able to do something that's never been done. That's, what the foundation is trying to do, something that's never been done in the world before, every day. So it's a different avenue. It's a different outlook. It's a different direction that anybody else has ever gone. And I think, anybody who listens to this, you can tell I always do take a different approach. Not because I have it. It's because I struggled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, one of the things that we talked about, and some of the stuff that we can talk about, because we both have had people reach out, whether they're listening to the podcast, seeing social media posts, or just know about the foundation, like, how can we help? And more times than not, in the last year, 2 years, I know you in the last 6 years, it's like, I don't know. Like, I know that there's things that we're going to have, and they're going to keep unfolding. So if you are one of those people that have reached out, or like, I really want to get involved and help with the foundation, reach out. Email, you can, Instagram, Word Blindness, you can, Brent Sopel, I am Juliet Hahn. You can find us in all the show notes here, whatever. I'm like doing this, like they can say. But there is a lot of stuff as we keep rolling out that we're doing behind the scenes that we cannot talk about, and that do in the next number of months. Sometimes it's going to be like, hey, we have some help that we can require. So stay in touch. Like if you're someone, go to the foundation, SOPOfoundation.org. You can also, there's an email capture. You can find that. We're going to be putting we can talk about that. We'll be putting some newsletters together and sending things out.
Things are going behind the scene. It's just like any foundation, fundraising obviously is the biggest component, being a 501c3. So it's a charity tax break. But as I tell people all the time, it's 10 times harder even for us. I always say less than 20% know what dyslexia is, and 10% are so embarrassed they won't get themselves attached to it. So obviously fundraising, donations, those are any foundation will say that.
Yep.
Every single foundation, charity donation will say that, but there is nothing else in the world that has as much embarrassment tied to it as dyslexia does. So it's even harder for us, for a golf event, a cancer golf event, they'll sell out, they'll raise this and this. I got friends like, we raised $1 million last night for cancer. Great. We're lucky to get, 20,000 over that, just because of the embarrassment. So fundraising obviously is a huge one. Anybody, with college kids, wanting to get hours, community hours or service hours. We need some, data research, individuals to do some research for us, behind the scenes. If anybody knows of college kids who wants to get hours or anything like that, doing some research and getting data for us. That's a big one. There's a lot out there. I know there's a lot of kids that want to put some stuff on their resume, or people want to help out or are in that world, because I am sure not in that world and can't figure out what I need to figure out. So I need to know what I know, and I know what I don't know, and see what else, who can help me out.
But you are actually very good at research. You're actually freakishly good at research. But I'll just leave that there. Even kids, if you're listening to this and you have high school students that have to get that certain amount of community service, I know over the years, or your kids coming up on confirmation and they have to get some hours and you're like thinking ahead, we have plenty of stuff. Plenty of stuff there. Not only with the social media, the podcasting, there's things that people can also learn, which is really fun. And then the whole dyslexia side, there's also stuff they can learn about charities. So it's not just, they can put their hours in. Like if they're really curious and want to dive into this, there's tons of stuff we can help. Again, as you said, fundraising. If you're someone out there that is really good at sales and really understands or want to understand a little bit more about dyslexia, we can talk to you about that. As Brent said, we have the golf event coming up. The holes are I know the foursomes are sold out.
Yeah,
we have
there's still some whole sponsorships that sponsors, whole sponsors, and different levels of sponsorship still available.
You're like bronze, silver, and platinum, and reach out to Brent for that, because there's something really exciting attached to that we're not going to talk about, because it could make that go crazy. Crazy. So if you are interested in learning about that, you have a company that is looking for tax breaks, because that's the thing. This is a 501(c)(3). Microsoft, they donate in different ways because of getting that, being associated with this. Right now, if you look up dyslexia, if you're sitting there or listening, or someone has shared this podcast with you, or a little bit and you're listening to this, if you go and Google dyslexia, there's going to be so many different things, and you're going to be like, this is so crazy. So many different thought processes, so many ways to remediate. One of the things is, since COVID, the slowing down of kids learning to read, not even just with dyslexia. So the whole literacy thing right now is the buzzword. All years, ADHD, autism, all of these different things that people grab onto, and not bad. They grab onto it because they see the problem. Dyslexia has come in and out over the years of that. And right now, because of COVID and kids not having the instruction, because parents, are also working and whatever, have lost some stuff. Right now, there is a and it's an epidemic. I hate all those stupid words, but there is a huge problem. I mean, bigger than it's ever been with literacy. And obviously that is going to be, there's kids that are not reading. They might not be dyslexic, but because they're not taught. And so there's, it's scary right now. So the things that we are learning behind the scenes and the things that we are going to do to help are the things that we can't talk about because there's so many different sides of what people think should be done. We have the dyslexic brain. We have been through school. We have raised children that are dyslexic. We have dealt with people that are dyslexic. We've dealt with people that are not dyslexic. We have a different angle because we have lived all of the angles and know what children need, what needs to be done. It's actually really simple. And sometimes we chuckle about it. Like, oh, look what they're doing in this state. Are you kidding me? Like, it is so simple. But everyone has to complicate it because too many people think that they know because they've done the research or they've done it, but they actually don't have the dyslexic brain to be able to say, this is actually what needs to happen.
Yeah. It's, and so, most of the people in the world, in this dyslexic world, aren't dyslexic. So they don't know. Yeah. They think they know, but they don't know. And there's a huge gap missing because they don't have it and they think they know it. And that's a massive problem. It's the reason why dyslexia has been around for, late 1800s. And really there's nothing, nothing's been done because of the non-dyslexic brain thinking they know it all, when it comes to literacy, what to do and how to do it, interventions, things like that. And
well, there's been a lot of stuff. And so I know you're going to be like, yes, but there's been a lot of stuff that has happened. So there's been a lot of research and a lot of these different things. However, if you look at the stats of kids in school, still graduating, not being diagnosed, still not being able to read, prison rates, 50% of inmates are. So there is stuff that there is.
And what was that? What was that thing that we talked about? I was looking up I sent you this weekend. 60% of kids graduating, 60% of U.S. public school students do not read at grade level.
A grade level.
80. So
those stats made me sad because it was like 80% of families don't go into a bookstore or something, and like it was.
There was do you have it? 80% of families did not buy or read a book last year. Again, obviously, I'll always fall into that because of my, dyslexia. 70%, 50% of adults cannot read a book written in 8th grade level. 44% of adults do not read a book a year. Again, I fall into that. I've never read a book in my life, but the numbers. So it's not obviously not even talking about just dyslexics. We're talking.
This is just
like the numbers are 80%,
and it was from the national. It's not like we're just pulling things off of the internet and being like, oh, look at Joe Smo said. No, this is like it's a credible site. I can't think of it.
90% of high school dropouts are functional illiterate.
Yeah.
Some of these 85% juveniles offenders have reading problems. 85%. 70% inmates in the U.S. cannot read above a 4th grade level. Again, that's me. So these numbers, not even only
dyslexics. Well, that's what I mean. This is an epidemic, and pandemic. I'm using the word incorrectly, I believe, but it is so. And that's why there's so much more research and people are, what we think, and we talk behind the scenes is I really think, again, the research was needed for a period of time and now the action needs to happen, and the action needs to happen in a broader sense because you can research the brain all you want. I really feel that they're trying to figure out what it is and how to fix it in the brain instead of being like, okay, here's the simple things. You're just born with it, right? 1 in 5, it's hereditary, all these things. And that's my speculation. But like, it's the scientists, it's the people that are good in school that are like, I want to figure this out because they're fascinated and they feel bad and they do want to help and make a change. But we don't need any more research.
Those numbers are
That's crazy.
Not again. Those are dyslexics. Those are non-dyslexics. Those are staggering numbers.
Staggering and heartbreaking.
What was it? You and I got into the Chicago public school teachers, what they're asking for. What were some of the stats? Again,
I mean, you have 0% graduation rate and some 0% graduation rate, but I'm not going to get into I'm not going to get into what they're offering. And I was like, well, I don't understand.
50 billion, but it's staggering numbers. What it's 80% of juveniles,
can't read.
And here's the thing, I say this all the time. We'd be doing the same thing for us dyslexics. It's easier to go down a bad path than a good path.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with reading, but I'm going to go down there and keep trying because that's a better path. It doesn't work that way.
No, especially when you don't have the support or understanding at home.
Correct. So it's easier for us to go and smoke and do drugs and drink. Like, God, get away from this feeling, because we don't even know what it is. It's just embarrassment and feeling not worth us and and dumb. So of course I'm going to go down there. And it's a staggering, sad number, because these are kids that have an opportunity. It's the future of the country, of the world, and that's what we got.
And there's so many kids that are not even diagnosed, like that they can't read. And when you get to a certain grade level, it's obvious, right? I mean, it's obvious. It's like that you're not, it's like, let's ask some questions. Like, okay, it's hello.
We talked about this the other day though. It's obvious to us,
right?
Not to them. So that's where the foundation is coming into play is, if somebody says, so-and-so, committed suicide, there was no red flags. There's 100 red flags. You just didn't know what to look for. So so as you said, it's easy. It's easy to spot dysgraphia. Easy to spot because we know what it is, right? We know what to look for. So the foundation, that's obviously with the foundation coming into play, trying to cover some of those angles of what's out there, what to look for. That's why we're taking it a very different approach, but.
Knowledge is
These
power.
kids, knowledge is everything, and knowledge is powerful. But those poor kids, right? I know what it was like to struggle. Now it's even more dyslexics, non-dyslexics to get up and not be felt loved and not have a connection. It's fucking awful, and it kills me. Every single day, because I know what it feels like. Because that was me. And that's why the foundation is ran off pain. Because I've been there, and never want a kid to feel that way. And that's why I coach. I always say, I don't coach this way when I'm coaching hockey because I made it. It's because I struggled, and so many people don't understand it or don't see it. But that's all. This is led by pain. There's kids here had a chance to change the world, and they might not get the opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And one of the other things that we were talking about, because we were putting some kind of marketing materials together, and we were talking about different words that are out there that can also grab people, because that's marketing, right? You want them to stop and say, wait a second, what is that? And just like dyslexia has all the different kind of spectrums, just like dysgraphia, because that was one of the things that we talked about with dysgraphia. We were talking about someone, and I said, I don't understand. Like, I know dysgraphia really well. My dad, my son, my sister. Like, my handwriting's bad. I have like what I call the dyslexic handwriting. It's not a good handwriting. Like, I can't write script anymore. Like, there, and my letters, it's not good. However, I am not dysgraphic, and it is. You can see. But it's because I have the knowledge, right? Other teachers can't. They're like, oh, you're just sloppy. But like, to me, that's like, if you see a true dysgraphic's handwriting, it's not just sloppy. Like, and you can see it at a very young age because they can't get it on a certain page. You can look at the coloring, all of these different things. But again, I've lived it, right? So I have that understanding, but it is all of these different words that we were talking about, and kind of a couple words that every single person we've talked to has the same, because you talk about the bullying, right? Yeah. We talk about the shame. We talk about the embarrassment. We talk about, feeling dumb, because there's some dyslexics that have said they never really felt dumb. They always knew that they weren't dumb, but like, and to us, that's like, oh, that's so interesting.
The same thing. You knew you were smart. I think Dan Cervino said that, and a lot of us,
in college, I knew, but no, I didn't. Like when I was in high school, I really was like, okay, I'm just dumb. Like I'm just not really smart, because I couldn't. Yeah, no, but there was all. Yeah, Dan Cervino said that there was a period, he always knew he was smarter, but then there was a period that he was like, but he heard it all the time. Like, you're just lazy, you're dumb. So there was a period where he questioned it. Danny was one. Danny's the one that said she always knew that she was smart, but so it was confusing to her.
Didn't Steven say that too? Because I know for me, there's been never a day where I felt smart.
Yeah. And so I don't think I've ever said that, because now I know that I have smart in certain things. Like I know that I can talk to someone about parenting. Forget it. I can talk to you about parent. That's just instinct to me. There's things that I feel, and I don't even, it's weird because it's
that's life, knowledge. We all have strengths and weaknesses, right? So what those are. So you're comfortable with, so that's where you've grown.
Yeah.
And what you touched upon bullying, because we talked about this last night. Kids don't bully other kids, for blind kids or somebody in a wheelchair, for an example. They bully kids like us who struggle reading, who can't do the simplest things. So it doesn't always go that way. Not pigeonhole anybody, but getting laughed at in class. Again, I use just blind kid doesn't get laughed at class. We do when we say the wrong word.
Mm-hmm.
So bullying is I believe that bullying doesn't, again, this isn't all encompassed under the umbrella, but for a good portion of things, people don't address bullying. Companies don't address bullying. Schools don't address bullying because they didn't know what it is. Well,
they talk about anti-bullying, but they don't get to the bottom of why the kid's bullying. And we've talked about that. That was one of the things in the beginning. And I think we've talked about this on many podcasts. You had said that. And I was like, oh, I've been saying that. There's no class clown or bully. Yeah. I was the class clown. So and that's where we talk. There's all these different spectrums. So if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, I can resonate that. I can't resonate with this. Like I wasn't bullied, yes. Yeah. When I read out loud, the class laughed, but they were laughing because I said the word pubic and they thought I was being silly, which they didn't realize later. Like friends of mine were like, why did you say that? I was like, I didn't say it on purpose. Yeah. I wasn't being an asshole. I read it wrong. Like I have a hard time with this. So there was, but again, I probably was, we talk about it. I had this little fire in me that, couldn't get distinguished. So I used to kind of lash out in well, this is why I did it. I talked about it, and maybe, that's my impulsivity, whatever it is. But
I remember I was a social study or something. I said something wrong too. Kids started laughing. I'm going to come over and beat the fuck out of you if you don't shut the fuck up. I'm standing in front of them. I always say, putting us in front of the class, we can't read out loud. Words will, appear on the page that aren't there. Letters will blend together. So, we can't, so basically putting us in front of a class for an oral presentation or a group, or whatever, is child abuse. Yeah.
Because the anxiety that you get. I mean, that's one of the things everyone talks about, that you count. I mean, that was Campbell soup, right? Not Campbell soup. I mean, you count and you do, every single person talks about it, and then the teacher gives the person a little bit of an extra. And I have talked to people that have anxiety.
This is it. One going here, go here.
And then you're like, no. And then you count, because my dyscalculia, I would count wrong every time. I'd be and I couldn't count. I couldn't look and count. I would have to do it on my fingers. It was just a shit show. Yeah. But we have talked to people also that have said that they weren't dyslexic, but they had anxiety. And so the reading out loud was an anxiety thing as well. And so there's so many different things that encompass.
Well, to that anxiety thing, and ask is because they weren't good at reading.
Or they were more of a perfectionist. I've talked to someone that was good at reading, that was like a perfectionist, and they wanted to make sure they did it all. Their anxiety got in their way, so then they didn't read as well. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's still,
again, I obviously there's no such thing as perfect, right? It's better. that anxiety, in my mind, there's no such thing as a perfectionist. There's a reason why.
Oh, yeah.
Where's that anxiety coming from? Is that a teacher? Is that a sibling? Is that a parent that is making that happen? So it should never be that. But I was just, as you were talking about, counting, how many times I go to the rink, I look up on the screen, see what dressing room I'm in, and I'll walk there. And I forgot, I got to walk back 2 or 3 times.
So annoying.
Right? Oh, what number? Oh, I got to go back. Oh, okay, I can do it again.
That's why I do. That's why I will put it in my text or my notes. That's why we talk. No, it's so frustrating. And that's the short-term memory. That is like, there's so many things, but it all comes down to the understanding. And yes, teachers are so overloaded. That's why we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing. There's so many different flags that these kids, instead of just like shuffling and everyone going here, like little things that they're doing that you could just be like, hey, wait a second, something's going on a little deeper. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. So if you have anyone in your world that's like, I would like to get more involved, or that that you have people in your world that love to donate and get involved in charities, like reach out to us, because we have tons of opportunities. We always are looking, obviously, for donations and fundraising. That's what every charity does. But we also have opportunities for people to learn, get a little bit more understanding behind the scenes. But if you're like, I've been curious about social media and marketing, like we can give you things that you can learn and then take that. And so it's not just like putting hours in, you're actually putting hours into something.
You'll learn.
Mm-hmm. You'll definitely learn. And you'll learn in a different way, possibly. Because we're going to teach in a different way.
Definitely going to be a different way. Won't make sense now, but will later.
100%. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Perfect.
Another episode of Word Blindness, Dyslexia Exposed. I say it every time. Don't forget to like, rate, review, and share, because you don't know who in your world right now is like, I need to get community service hours, or I need an internship. We're coming up at the end of a lot of people's years. There's so much to do behind the scenes, so many things that we cannot talk about. We will. It is an exciting time to be where we are. And I'm just going to leave it at that. So don't forget to rate, review, and share.